I did one time ride behind him on his motorcycle on the highway, and I won't lie, I had a thought that I was like, if I hit him, could I act well enough to get off? You know, could I be like, oh my God, I was like not paying attention. I can't believe I killed him. Hi guys, welcome to this week's edition of Middle-Aged Millennial MILF podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Strickland, coming at ya. Solo episode, guys. No guest star today. I really thought I'm going to try to mix. I'm still also learning. So I do appreciate feedback when people give it to me, and I know that they're too long, so I'm going to try to keep this one short, but I'm going to try to intersperse some interview ones with some of just me. Like, it's fun to hang out with a group of friends, but also sometimes you want some one-on-one. So here's your one-on-one time with Sarah. And I feel like this is important for all of us, especially, well, anyone, but music. How it affects our life, how it's affected my life, the soundtrack of your life. So let's talk about music, folks. Some hot takes. If you like the kind of music I don't like, I'm so sorry. Everybody likes different things. This is purely my opinion. But also, if you're listening to my podcast, you fucking know what you're in for. So let's get started. My earliest memory with music is my mom said that when I was little and a baby, they had one of those big, it looked like a curio cabinet. Like it was really long and it had like a record player in it, like an 8-track, like it was huge, like a buffet thing. And my dad would set my little baby seat up there and play Phil Collins. So I've always loved Phil Collins. And then my next big memory is my mom would rent this tape, and it was all of Paula Abdul's music videos. And I would try to mimic the cold-hearted snake dance at the age of 4. And looking back, that was quite risque. Okay, Mom, you're just letting me go for it. I mean, I kind of wish I had it on tape, actually, but no big deal. And so my mom was a disco dancer, allegedly. And so we just played a lot of disco. So I kind of like that. And then my dad was like a classic 70s rock kind of a guy. Like Drew likes to joke, you know that song, she's a bitch girl and they've gone too far. And he just pictures my dad. My dad had like this curly long hair at the time, like his arm out the window, like listening to the song, and it cracked me up. So I had quite an eclectic taste of music, even as a little girl. Like I said, I was doing 70s, end of 80s, 90s. And then does everybody remember how like country became huge in the 90s? Like Garth Brooks was the man. And living in Illinois, like I did, I enjoyed Garth Brooks. Now, I say that with a caveat. I do not like country music. When they would play country music, because Alex let us pick our own playlists in the stores, and they would pick country, and I would go in to cover a break, and every time I'm like, it's like I work at the fucking Texas Roadhouse. Like, I don't know why this makes people want to shop. Like, I don't get it. The only country music that I want to listen to is the Dixie Chicks Cowboy Take Me Away when I'm masturbating, thinking about Glenn Powell and Twisters. Okay, that's it, because it puts me in the mood. Like, I don't like cowboys. They don't do it for me. I don't understand. Like Morgan Wallen, like I don't get it. So that's my feeling on country. I understand lots of people like it. I don't know why, but more power to you. I was not. So I do still love some Garth Brooks, I guess I should say. I don't like current country. Then my next big memory of music as a kid was my dad traveled a lot. He worked for the Moose, and he would feel bad about being gone. So he would bring us back presents to buy our love, because that was my parents' MO, which I appreciated at the time. But I wanted a Salt and Pepper CD. Or I guess it wasn't a CD, it was a tape. I wanted a Salt and Pepper tape in the 2nd grade, which I remember I was listening to it. My mom heard it and she's like, what did you buy her? And my dad goes, it's what she wanted. That was his, you know. So my friend Shauna Stegman and I would be in her basement dancing around the poles in her basement to Shoop. We knew all the words. second, maybe it was third grade, fourth max. I don't think so. It really feels younger. Then we also thought we were hot shit. And like she would put on a sports bra and overalls. And I had a training bra and a denim vest that I would wear open. And we would ride our bikes around Sandwich, Illinois, feeling like hot shit. So I know all the words to Salt and Pepper Soup. To this day, know it. And I don't particularly like rap, so that was kind of a surprising thing. I also wasn't into boy bands, but somehow went to a Backstreet Boy concert and NSYNC because I just had friends that were into it. And I'm the type of person, if you're like, do you want to go do this with me? I always say yes. I don't say no to experiences. Like, even if it's not something I'm into, you never know. So I saw both of those. Yeah, I'm going to flex that. But what really changed my life was in the 8th grade. I guess it was the summer before 8th grade. My parents both worked, so I was home watching my brother. And I would just like sleep on the couch and watch MTV. And that's the year that whole Celebrity Skin came out, which, as you can see, I'm wearing my whole shirt. I love Courtney Love. That album, that song, I mean, it was kind of like there was a before and after. And she had on like these fucking leather pants and like sparkles. And she didn't look so drugged out at the time when I started to like her. And I was just like, yes. Like she says what she feels like that. I identified with her. Like I love me some Britney now. At the time, I was like, I don't fucking hit me, baby, one more time. Like that's not, I'm an emotional wreck. I need to hear songs like Dying. Oh my God, so cringe. Okay, I had a crush on this guy, James Cavitan, which he doesn't have any social media. I'm worried he's dead. So if anyone knows James Cavitan from Sandwich, Illinois, please let me know because I was in love with him. And I would print out song lyrics from Hole. There's a song Dying and Northern Star. And I would put it in his locker like, oh my God, everyone was probably making fun of me. Then at a dance, they had karaoke. And I felt like the Silver Springs song by Fleetwood Mac like described my love for him. So I decided to profess my love for him at this dance by singing him. I can't sing. I was singing to him Silver Springs. I got to the end of my horrible rendition and realized he was not at said dance. So joke was on me. I just humiliated myself and didn't even shoot my shot. So, but my mom also thought he was gay. So if you're still alive and you're gay, also, could you confirm? Like that would make me feel a lot better that you didn't just reject me. You just didn't like my genitals. And then also in 8th grade at the Sandwich Fair, I met this boy named Anthony. And also here's a weird fact. Anytime I met a boyfriend, I was wearing a hat. So I just must look really good in a hat. So we met at the fair and it was so romantic. And like, it was my 15th birthday. And my mom's like, let's all go out on a date. So she decided to drive me, my brother. Well, I don't know where the fuck my brother came. My friend Kelly, the guy Brad she was dating, who was Anthony's friend, Anthony and me. And we all drove like to another town to watch a night at the Roxbury. And in the car, I had decided I no longer liked this boy. So I'm stuck on a date with him. And I'm like, oh, Chris Kattan is so hot. Like, I just talked the whole movie about how Chris Kattan was. All of these are questionable life choices, but I'm just telling you verbatim what happened. Then my mom turned it into the longest date. She's like, we should go bowling. Let's have your dad come bowl. So all of us go fucking bowling. And I'm like, Kelly, I don't like this guy anymore. I don't know what to do. So we had to bowl. Then we went and like got fucking ice cream. And we're driving home and the song Closing Time by Semisonic came on. And he started just singing in the car. I got the ick. I didn't know. We didn't have a term for it then. But I got the icks so bad that I didn't want a man to ever sing in front of me again. Certainly not at me. Like a man singing at me is my biggest fear. Like what are you supposed to do if someone's singing you a song? Are you supposed to like clap like, oh, yay, like, just sit there like a dumbass? Like, I don't know. I don't like it. But so that was the nail in the coffin for poor Anthony. And then apparently he really still had a thing for me years later. Sorry, Anthony. Shouldn't have sang Closing Time. Now I love that song. And Drew sings in the car all the time and I don't mind. But that just goes to show if it's the right person, it's okay. My first car was a 95 Pontiac Grand Am with no air conditioning, and it had a tape player. So I was making mixed tapes in the early 2000s because we had an open campus at lunch. And when I got my car, my mom said, "You're not allowed to have anybody in this. Don't leave campus for lunch." So what was the first thing I did? I put everyone in my car and left campus for lunch every day because I didn't like my mom and I thought her rules were stupid. I'm lucky. I was speeding. I was not driving well. I mean, I was okay. Let's be honest. I was probably driving the way I drive now, but as a much less experienced person. So it was just, I'm lucky no one died. But we would make these mixed tapes. And it was when I was like just hanging out with my best friend Megan. And like we had just gotten dumped. So we were listening to like You Ought to Know. Love is a Battlefield was another huge one for us. We had a great dance routine to It's Raining Men that when other friends would come in the car, like going to parties and we would perform this for us, they were very impressed. And also I got to go to some cool concerts. I went to Lilith Fair. That's also going to age me with my cousin Mary. Shout out Mary. Took me to Lilith Fair. And she likes to joke she didn't know it was a lesbian thing. She's like, I just saw girls kissing and it was weird. And we were on the lawn and actually Dido was on like a stage right next to us before Dido was big. And I was so fucking 90s. I had like a Hawaiian print halter top and some like shorts. And I think I had a bandana on. I don't remember. But another one my dad took me to was the Monkees. And I had a press pass since I was on the school newspaper. And on Sex and the City, Carrie joked about shamelessly flashing her press pass to get backstage at a Yankees game. So I was like, well, I'm Carrie Bradshaw. Let's flash and get backstage to the Monkees concert. And it did. It worked. I got my dad and I backstage. And we met Peter Tork. And he's like, you're not supposed to be back, are you? I'm like, yes, I am. So we took a picture with him. Then I got greedy, and that was my problem. If I would have just taken the picture of Peter and bounced, all would have been good. But I was like, no, now I want a picture with every living monkey that's here. So I got Mickey Dolenz, and I was waiting around for Davy Jones when security found us. And we got hauled into like the manager's office of Celebrity Theater and like got dressed down. We got kicked out of the concert. I was like in tears. And my dad is Carrie Peterson, and you don't tell him that he can't do something he wants to do. So he had to sneak back in. And I think it's so funny now. I couldn't enjoy that concert. Like I was anxiety to the max the whole time. I'm like looking around. I'm like, they're going to notice us. We're going to get like, I didn't even know. But now I'm like, why was I worried? My dad was the fucking adult. Like he would have been the one. I could have just been like, I don't know. My daddy made me do this. But so I got to meet 2 out of the 3 Monkees. Davy Jones is now dead. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Davy Jones. So a lot of angry girl rock got me through high school, my breakups. I was kind of a riot girl. I did not appreciate the 80s. I was like, I am grunge and this and stuff. We graduate high school and Liz Phair, Why Can't I Come Out? That was, and I remember where I was and everything the first time I saw it. I was at a Circuit City with my friend Derek, and we walked in and her music video was playing on one of the TVs, and it was Why Can't I? And it was another one of those life will never be the same musically. Like that, the Liz Phair album is my favorite album. It's really tough. Whole Celebrity Skin and Liz Phair, the Liz Phair album, are topped. They share. Like those are 2 albums that no matter how old I get, no matter what happens in my life, I relate to those albums and those songs. And Boys on the Radio of Hole still makes me so happy. And I mean, Hole, Boys on the Radio, and Heaven Tonight are 2 songs that just anytime I hear them take me back and make me happy to when I was 14 years old. I'm 40. So I feel like those are probably 2 of the favorite. And like I said, too, I was into grunge and stuff. I did not appreciate the 80s. And when I was working at Alexander Collections, I remember one day Brenda was like, I'm going to put on Sting Radio. And I was like, oh God. But I was like, okay, it's her, it's her store. And I ended up loving Sting Radio and the 80s. And another person told me, they're like, when we put on summer hits, the 80s, like I have such fun. So that started to be my go-to playlist People fucking loved it. Didn't matter the age. Summer hits the 80s. They loved it. They came in. Like, it just feels good. So I'm very much back into the 80s music. 80s on 8 on Sirius XM is one of my favorites. I just love it. And like I said, I felt like I was a little music snob where I was like, I'm into grunge. 80s is cheesy. And no, I'm like, no, 80s fucking rock. You will see me going 100 miles an hour, dancing to Lady in Red, passing by people. I don't think they think I'm listening to that. But that's how it is. When I was on the drugs, when I was on the prescription pills, I didn't listen to music as much. I listened to a podcast and watched a lot of TV. So I just had a constant stream of talking coming at me. And okay, let's full transparency. Let's go behind the curtain. I no longer listen to Tell 'em Steve Dave. In fact, I have not listened to Tell 'em Steve Dave in quite a long time. I listened to it when I was on drugs over and over. And it was my whole, like, I listened to every episode probably 4 times. There was 300 some odd episodes at the time. There's more now. But as I got better and healthier and in a better state of mind and more of back to who I was, I realized, why did I like that? Like, it's fine. Like, 13% of their listeners are women and I'm a girl's girl. So like I said, no shade, but I don't listen. So I don't want them having some rhetoric where it's they fucking are my favorite. And like, no. I went up on that stage for old me because that was her favorite podcast. Because here's the deal. They fucking have some guy on there now that spent like $3,000 on a piece of Q's hair. That was honestly when they lost me. I'm like, who the fuck is this fucking weirdo who bought someone's hair and you've decided that stuff he has to say is relevant to my life? So I was like, I'm out. And then our friend Chaz like listens all the time and tries to talk to me about it. And I'm like, dude, I have not listened in 2 years, 2.5 years. Like, I don't know. And I tried to read the transcripts because I was like, well, I made you a video with Kevin Smith. The least you could do is talk about me. They never talk about me. And those transcripts are boring AF. So don't recommend it. If you're on drugs and super depressed, listen to Tell 'em Steve Dave, especially old Tell 'em Steve Dave. Good for you. If you're happy and stuff, probably not for you. If you're friends with me, probably not for you. It was really weird. Like I said, no shade, but I don't know. I don't want them having some rhetoric where they're like, oh, she's our big fan. And like, because I asked him about something, Brian, when I was talking to him, and he's like, oh, you're the most this of the 13 percenters. So that was kind of like time I talked to him, because in my head, I'm like, that's all I get. And I'm not a 13 percenter anymore. So joke's on you. So when I quit listening to the podcast, I got back into music again and actually got into Kate Nash, which I'd always meant to listen to her music. And I just never did. She was on Glow. I loved her. And I was like, oh, she's a musician. So I got it out and I was listening to it. And it was the album Girl Talk, because I had read that she was inspired by Courtney Love with that one. And it was just great. Like I related to all this because I hadn't felt that way in a really long time. You know, there was Liz Phair, Courtney Love. There's some Lana Del Rey. I'll get into that a little bit later. But Kate Nash was the next one again, where I was like, so for me to like music, I have to relate to it. I have to feel like it's about me, because I'm so hold myself in such high esteem. But the second song that was on the Girl Talk album was Friend, and it's FRIEN, like friend. And it's about like toxic friends and how you try so hard and it doesn't matter. And I have had a few of those in my life that I no longer talk to. And I'm a big fan of the block. I've talked about this in other ones. I'll talk about this with Sam, but I'm a fan of blocking. Once I'm done, I'm done. It takes me a lot to get to that point. But there's a few of you that are friends. And if you think I'm going to name drop you, you're fucking nuts. Like, I'm going to give you that credit. No way. And I sure as shit do hope you hate listen to see how happy I am without you toxic asses. Woo! Don't waste your time on toxic friends. If all they ever do is talk about themselves, if all they ever do is say bad things about you, or if they like, we had friends that would show up to our kid's birthday party an hour and a half late every time. Like they had something more important to do. And then they'd show up. So we have parties all the time now, and guess who we are no longer friends with, and guess who no longer gets invited? Hope they're happy. There were 2 songs that really so when I started listening to this album, I still talked to my parents, but I realized that the song All Talk and Labyrinth reminded me of my mom. And in fact, Labyrinth, my favorite line is, I want to say my will is strong and my kingdom great. And I just love that because I feel like after I cut my parents out, I really focused on building up my community around me. And not like I'm your queen. I mean, if you want me to be your queen, I'd love to be your queen. But it's our kingdom of friends and it's my support system. And I would love for my mom to come and see all this and be like, who the fuck are all these people? And I'm like, people that are really important in my life. So then I kept deep diving more into Kate Nash. And her first album came out in like 2009. They actually talked about it on 90210, which I didn't catch at the time, but there's a song Foundations, which reminds me of my ex-husband. Because it's like, I hope I don't end up with this guy, like cracks in our foundations. And it was just kind of funny to see her albums line up with times in my life. Like that album was when I was going through my divorce and getting with Drew. And actually there's a song called The Skeleton Song where she's singing about a skeleton that her parents had that she liked, like a blow up one. But it reminded me of Drew because I always say that he is my skeleton. He's a part of me. You know, he's my backbone. He's everything. And it basically, I interpreted the song as about how I was stuck in this marriage, but I wanted to be with Drew. And my favorite part is she talks about bringing a hammer and smashing the skeleton, but I imagine it was my ex-husband. Yeah, I never killed him. I did one time ride behind him on his motorcycle on the highway, and I won't lie, I had a thought that I was like, if I hit him, could I act well enough to get off? You know, could I be like, oh my God, I was like not paying attention. I can't believe I killed him. Oh my, and I was like, didn't do it. Clearly, I didn't vehicular manslaughter anybody. I guess it would have been vehicular homicide, but I did not. That's when I got out. But also the song Dickhead reminds me of Ryan a lot. Clearly self-explanatory. Why you being a dickhead for? Stop being a dickhead. I think he thinks that I like think all these nice things about him and just every shitty song is about him. And then her song Paris, which she doesn't have kids, which is very funny because Paris reminds me of being a mom because it talks about how you'll never listen to me. No, you'll never listen to me. And you said you'd give me anything. I think I'll take your company because as a parent, we know when they get older, all you want to do is spend time with them. And then Life in Pink and Take Me to a Higher Place covers my mental health because with PMDD, you get suicidal. And Take Me to a Higher Plane is about killing yourself. So that's super fun. But when I'm feeling like my mental health is at risk, I listen to that and it makes me feel less alone because someone else feels the same way. Now, I dropped a little Lana. Let's go back to Lana. As you know, I'm a huge Courtney Love fan. Courtney Love was opening for Lana Del Rey. So I bought tickets to see Courtney Love. Because I bought tickets in college. She went to rehab and canceled her concert after American Sweetheart. So I was just like, okay, let's try to see her now. And then I was like, this is kind of weird that I'm just going to leave after the opening act. Maybe I need to start listening to Lana Del Rey. So I listened to her first album, Born to Die, and it was great. In fact, Walker ended up singing the song Blue Jeans in class and everybody clapped for him. Which also, Walker, thank you. You had such a cool mom. She was listening to Lana Del Rey. You were singing Lana Del Rey in elementary school. Maybe you need to be nicer to your mother. But Ultraviolence was the album that she performed with. And I liked it, but I wasn't totally bought in. And then later, I was like, I'm a big Lana Del Rey fan. Especially fucked my way up to the top. I didn't fuck anyone to get where I am, but I appreciate the sentiment. And there's a line where she talks about, I am a dragon, you're a whore. You don't even know what you're good for. And mimicking me is a fucking bore to me. So I feel like I have Lana Del Rey energy. I think that people would agree. So Lana Del Rey, right? But the album that really solidified, I loved all her stuff. Lust for Life I listened to when I was painting our table. But Norman fucking Rockwell came out. And this was like pre-COVID, but really close to. So it was not a good time for me, mental health. And there's a song called Mariner's Apartment Complex. And I was like, I really love the song, especially the line, I'm the board, the lightning, the thunder, kind of girl who's going to make you wonder who you are and who you've been. And I just really love that because I hope that I'm that type of woman that when people meet me, they kind of wonder what it's like to be in my orbit, what it would like to be with me. So we have Liz, Lana, Kate, Courtney. Fifth would be Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple, I mean, blew everyone away with her opening album, but everything she's done, she isn't as big, but she's amazing. She also does the most amazing covers. Like she did Pure Imagination, which was amazing. But I remember when Pleasantville came out, she had done a cover of Across the Universe. And I didn't know about Tiana. I mean, I didn't know anything about that. And we were actually getting a new technique and they do a prayer before. And he said, Jai, Guru, Dev in it. And I was, that's Across the Universe. So I looked it up and they did. That was a song that they wrote when they were with Maharishi. So then I was like, oh, now I love this because it's the prayer that you do. It's the Jai, Guru, Dev. So I want that playing at my funeral. So if Drew drops the ball, the kids, Across the Universe by Fiona Apple. And also she did the theme song for The Affair, which is a show that Drew and I really identify with. No cheating has been involved with Drew and I, not nothing like that, but it was just those characters were really reminiscent of who we are and also who we would have been if we got married out of high school is mostly what it is. So Fiona Apple just has always gotten me. Like her music would remind me of boys, all that stuff. And in fact, when I would listen to music as a kid, I always thought every song was about love, like a love relationship. I didn't really comprehend that music could be about that you'd write about your parents or anything. Cause now I'll listen back to songs and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's about my mom. And I didn't think that at the time, or I would be trying to make it work with a boyfriend or something. But 2 Fiona Apple songs are on my mom and dad playlist. So I am no contact with my parents, but I do miss them sometimes. So I have songs on there that remind me of them, but they're not necessarily good songs. They are Hope is a Dangerous Thing for Me to Have, but I Have It by Lana Del Rey. Never's a Promise by Fiona Apple. Oh, well, Fiona Apple. Lose You to Love You, Into the Mystic, and Son of a Bitch by Lisa Marie Presley. Never is a Promise I picked because my mother's a covert narcissist and she lies about everything. I was reading and Never is a Promise was her first song. I think Fiona Apple's parents were narcissists too. Just if she was writing it about that, not a romantic relationship. It really plays into that. So it kind of also bolsters or I don't want to say bolsters, it reinforces that I was not happy in that situation growing up. So even when I miss them, if I listen to the album, I'm reminded of why I don't talk to them anymore. So I can miss them, but also hold in the same place that I don't want them in my lives. So once a month, my brain is just lying to me, telling me to kill myself, telling me that nobody loves me, I'm useless. Like if I don't get a message that day from somebody, it's like DEFCON. It's awful. So I made a PMDD playlist. So I knew that when I was in that time, I would just go listen to that playlist. It was songs I'd always liked, songs that comforted me, stuff like that. And I really had a lot of luck and it worked. And it made me really start thinking about making the soundtrack of my life, like with my mom and dad playlist. And then what about this boyfriend or that experience and just making this huge long playlist that's basically the story of my life through songs. And so I'm going to start doing that. So every week, I think for every different chapter of my life, I'll release a little soundtrack. That's what we'll do. But I want to hear about yours too. I want to know what your theme song is. Right now, my theme song is High Hopes by Panic at the Disco, because I always thought I'd be that one in a million. Bitch by Meredith Brooks is always a good one. And also I enjoy quite a bit Fuck You by Lily Allen, because it talks about how she hates the homophobes and we don't want to hear what they have to say. So right now the Fuck You is about all the political stuff for me and what they're doing. But also it's not that I'm going to step down. It's fuck you, you're wrong, and we'll make it right. Another song that really helped me that would be on the list would be Shake It Out by Florence and the Machine. That one really encapsulates the feeling that I had during, like, the dependency and the withdrawal, and, like, how just kind of defeated you are and how you wanna hope again. And listening to that now, it gives me so much pride because I got through it. And it's a triumphant song, that I never have to feel that way again, but I can't erase that time in my life. So let's turn it into something good. I also hear I'm gonna take a hot take right now, guys. I'm gonna list what the millennial theme should be, and it is the remake of "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Fall Out Boy. And here's why. First out, is there a more millennial band than Fall Out Boy? No, I don't think so. And it literally covers all of our, it's like 89 to 2022. So all of us were, more than likely, all of us were live that were listening that are millennials. And we have been blamed for things since they coined us millennials, I feel like. Like, we just have been the punching bag, the butt of the joke, the this and that. But if the bottom line is, we didn't fucking do this. We didn't get us here. None of this. Right now, we are trying to combat everything that the other generations did that started the fire. And I know it's a remake and it was Billy Joel and that's fucking boomer generation, but newsflash, guys, you fucked it. You fucked it up big time. Right now, the world sucks. And instead of all of you taking, that are old as fuck politicians that won't give up and let younger people come in, you want to hold on to the control and you're fucking it. So I want our kids to listen to that. No, this was not our fault. And at the end, too, with World Trade Second Plane, what else do I have to say? That really affected all of us. Like, that was our Pearl Harbor. That was our JFK. So it also, the world did change after that, and not for the better. We had a nice little Obama renaissance and the Great Wokening, and now it's Nazis and all that. But anyway, so We Didn't Start the Fire, the millennial theme song. Boomers should be We Fucking Suck. And then I also got to thinking, like, soundtracks for relationships. My first boyfriend, Dana, who I love so much, our song was Wild Horses because I thought it was the most romantic song. And when we talked on the phone for the first time, I put it on because I was just a romantic. But then now, I wish Olivia Rodrigo was out then, because that album, Good For You, Deja Vu, Driver's License, like, all of it. I texted Megan and I'm like, don't you wish this was out? And she goes, I do. Like, it would have really done it for us. And that also just takes me back to that time and how I would have felt that, not how I feel now. Clearly, I'm very over it. And actually, it was so funny. Deja Vu, my ex-husband married someone else named Sarah. So I told him Deja Vu reminded me of him. That is not a compliment. He took it as a compliment and he goes, yeah, you're right. All the girls do talk about how great I am. And I was like, first off, that line is said sarcastically in the song, but that's what you picked up on. Not that everything is reused. Literally, my name is reused. That's all right. That's also why Foundations and Dickhead reminds me of you, buddy. But let's get to somebody good. So Drew, I always had a thing for Drew. Whether or not I admitted it, whether or not he admitted it, but things would stick. Like, I remember one time before college or during college, he mentioned that he liked Modest Mouse. So anytime when we weren't together, when I was older, Modest Mouse always reminded me of Drew. And he just always had a special place. Our song now, Issues by Julia Michael, because we both have issues, but we love each other and we help each other out. Also, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. Well, after we sang that at karaoke, I was like, yes, sir, this is a good song for us. As far as Walker Boy goes, that's right, Walker. When you were a baby, I would play Count on My Love by Liz Phair to my belly for you. And I still think of that because you can't always count on my love. But now Footloose, everything Footloose is Walker Dude, and everything Big Fish. So I think anything Broadway and stuff will always remind me of my boy. Beckett is just so sweet. Any love song could really describe him. Okay. So the idea also soundtrack of my life is, let's backtrack a little bit. I grew up in Sandwich, Illinois. It was depressing. I wasn't in a happy home. So I would fantasize a lot. So I would have these fantasies where I would go out to Hollywood and I would be really famous and everyone would love me. I mean, stuff that everybody has. But they also had to be plausible in my mind. Like it had to be like almost like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where I had to be like 6 degrees from making it reality. Otherwise, it didn't work. Like in my mind, if I was married to a movie star, the minute he got married to somebody else, I was like, nope, you're done. You're somebody's husband. Or so, yeah, I was done. So as an adult, I would still do the same thing, but I would imagine like adapting Valley of the Dolls for a movie, and that would be a big hit, directed by Tom Hanks. And then I went off the pills and we were watching the Gemstones on HBO. And I got this idea. And like I said, I love songs if I can relate them to something in my life. But I also love songs if I could relate them to a situation I would be in. So, and sadly, Gemstones got canceled. I'm Danny. I'm very let down. So here's the deal. I had a very well fleshed out plan for a season of the Gemstones that I thought I should star in. I'm going to tell you guys right now what that idea is because I have nothing to lose. Danny, if you hear this, please reach out. Let's do a movie. Let's do a special movie of the Gemstones because I really think this is a great idea. And like I said, it's super fleshed out. And also, this is like super secret Sarah stuff. Like this is stuff that I just started admitting to Drew recently. So me sharing this with you right now is also a big deal. But like I said, I'm also a fan of shooting your shot. So I'm putting this out there in the universe and maybe it'll happen. So my idea for the Gemstones, which if you don't know, it's about a religious family in North Carolina where they're like the Righteous Gemstones is the name of it. And they have like a mega church and they're rich and, they all love each other, mean well, but they're still kind of fucked up. And I love anything Danny McBride does, and Walton Goggins on it is amazing. And so my idea is that we're going to open on a funeral and everyone will be like, oh my God, John Goodman died. He is a patriarch of the family. But no, it's my father, who's played by Mike Myers, because that's just the dream ever since I saw So I Married an Axe Murderer. So it opens on a funeral and I walk in like a black power suit. And then I have the offspring with me. And to commemorate my dead father, we sing Gone Away by the Offspring because that is the greatest funeral song of all time. So I have a whole dance routine where I break it down at my dad's funeral and they're like, oh no, she's back. So the storyline is that Mike Myers was my dad, married to Jamie Lee Curtis, who's my mother, and she was like a stage mom. And they were always jealous of the Gemstones because they had the money and my dad just had like a little church, but like, him and John Goodman were friends. So I would have been like Nickelodeon, how they all had like all that shit come out. So it would have been that I got sent away as a teen and I was like a teen star on like a Nickelodeon show and Jamie Lee Curtis is my mom and she's like a stage mom. And so I was gone and I didn't grow up with the Gemstones. But we'll have a flashback episode that talks about when I came back. But so before that happens, and I'm just coming back from the funeral, and my mom and I don't know why Jamie Lee Curtis be my mom. I don't know why I just did the quotes, but are going to figure out what to do with the dad's church. The whole reason of wanting Jamie Lee Curtis, not just because she's Jamie Lee Curtis, but her godson is Jake Gyllenhaal. And I really want Jake Gyllenhaal to play my husband in this because should anything ever happen to Drew, Jake, you're your husband number 3. I really feel like, Jake, you just need like a good woman that will love you and help. Like, why are you still single, Jake Gyllenhaal? Why? And you know what? I bet you would love it. God forbid Drew's dead. Drew's dead. You could be the father to my 2 boys. It's an instant family. You could direct. You wouldn't have to get up the baby. Like, this is it. So if anything, God forbid, ever happens to Drew, somebody just find Jake Gyllenhaal and you're marrying me. So this is my into Jake Gyllenhaal, is he plays my husband on it. I want him to be like an ex-star too, like an ex-Disney kid star that's like washed up now. And like, we met doing Hallmark movies or something, and we're just kind of shysters and don't really have anything. And we're like, what better way to make money than through the church? So we want to kind of like infiltrate and take over the Gemstones church because they have a mega church. So I would play like really cool and like, oh, help me guys. And I would have them come to our first time. And I want to have Carolina Lear come. and play Show Me What I'm Looking For. And I'll be like, yeah, and then we'll get everybody on our side. And then it'll be like a cool, really like women-led church. And I want to sing Sweet Dreams Are Made of These by the Eurythmics. So it's like a cool church that like plays pop music. And because they fucking do it anyway, so why not? And there's a part where I want Judy to sing like the like it would just be in my head. It's so fucking perfect. And then the piece de resistance of church would be It's Raining Men, because I want my church that I'm trying to start to be about polygamy, but for women to have multiple husbands. And like Jake Gyllenhaal, like, it's cool for your wife to have other husbands, like brother husbands. And like we hang out and high five. And then I'm trying to get Judy and BJ to get another husband in their relationship. And I'll be like, but BJ, you're the first husband. Like that's the most important. And like, I'm trying to get Judy away. But there would be a flashback episode because that's what they do on the Righteous Gemstones. And it'll be that my parents, Mike Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis, were having marriage problems. So they sent me with the gemstones for the summer because I was getting in trouble. Maybe I had an abortion. I don't know. But something happened when I was filming my Nickelodeon show. So they sent me with the gemstones because Jamie Lee will straighten me out. Amy Lee is the mom on that. So there's this song, There's Gotta Be More to Life by Stacey Orico. And it's like a Christian song, but they played it at Limited too. So I want that to be my pop hit that I was for the time. And then it's that Danny McBride and I as kids like had this romance that like I broke his heart. That's why he married Amber and I have red hair. And she's like, oh my God, you're only with me because you're in love with her. And he's like, no, that's not the truth. So there's some stuff in the middle I'm not clear about, but I know I want to sit on Walton Goggins' lap, and maybe he and I had like a quasi-sexual thing when I was a teenager because Uncle Baby Billy, I could see doing that. So I'm just using men. And then at the very end, I don't know how this will happen, but we're going to burn down the Gemstones church. So me and my family, but the whole thing, like us pouring the gasoline, the this and that will be set to all these things that I have done by the Killers. And then at the end, I want us to have like a choreographed dance, like on the stage while we're burning the place down. Because I want Danny McBride to be like, is she dancing? Why are they dancing? And then I want to turn around and do the New York where I show him my butt like she did. And I want to be like, did she New York me? Did she just New York me? And then I don't know how it ends. Like they could kill me. I don't know. Like I would love it if they just put me in like jail. And then I'm like her Hannibal Lecter. Like Judy comes and I give her advice or something. So there it is, guys. I mean, I laid the whole thing out for you, Danny. I'll be more than happy to help you write this season, but I think that we need to make it happen. So everybody get on Sarah Strickland season of The Righteous Gemstones. But you guys have heard so much about my stuff. I want to hear about yours. So please, I'm going to do my soundtrack every Saturday. It'll be Soundtrack Saturday. And I want you guys to post yours too and respond and interact. And if there are some that I really agree with, I'll read. But let's keep this really interactive. And that maybe is your legacy, that this soundtrack, when you die, that covers your whole life. So remember, Soundtrack Saturday and make today your bitch. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, guys.